When I click the link to the application, I come to this sign-in page. Here I'll enter my email and my password if I've used the Synod's application page before. If not, I'll click this Create Account button and go ahead and create an account. For now, I'm going to go ahead and sign in using one I've created before. And I click Login. The first question that I get is, what is my tax ID? This is the tax ID of the organization, the congregation who is applying. Next, I go to an eligibility quiz. So what type of organization is applying? I'm going to say I'm a congregation of the LCMS. And then, is the project in the United States? Yes, it is. And next, now it says, what amount of funding are you requesting? And there's a note here that says, this answer will take you to the correct application and may require you to enter your federal tax ID again. That's depending on the selection. If I choose less than or equal to 5,000, it's just going to take me straight on into this application path that I'm currently on. But if I choose greater than 5,000, it's going to take me down another path to the correct application, which then, of course, makes me enter the federal tax ID again. So for now, I'm going to say less than or equal to 5,000. Submit that, and here I am at the beginning of the application. When you land on the first page of this application, you'll see some tips for completing this form. This is all key information. Please take note of this information. It will help you to both complete this application, but also it will help you navigate to your application if you should save it and want to start it again later. So right here, for example, is an important link that you will need to go back and finish your application later, should you save it. One quick tip, if you're interested, up here in the upper right hand corner is a printer-friendly version. If you click that, it launches a new window up here with just a version of the empty application with every question that is on the application. The project information, the needs statement, details and outcomes, all the way through the financial and volunteer information, along with the final important certifications, the things that you'll be saying yes to when you put your name here and hit submit. So you can print this printer-friendly version and review it ahead of time, and then even complete the answers in a Word document, which when we close this page, we're here back at the application page again. When we hit next and we go to the actual fields, you can cut and paste those answers from a Word document, or you can type them right into the fields. Now, as I'm ready to begin this application, I'm going to use the buttons down at the bottom to navigate through. Clicking the next button will take me to the next page. I can also see these links up here, which are pages that I can jump through: organization information, project information, submitting my application. But for now, I'm going to use the buttons and go in order and click Next. That brings me to the organization information. You can see, based on the tax ID that I entered, the name of my organization populates. I'm going to go ahead and enter my address information and make sure that I get the right state here. Missouri 63122. And here is the website, lcms.org. Now, when I go to get the district, it's really from this list that I want to select. However, they're not in alphabetical order. They are in order of the region. So to make it quick and easy, I can just start entering Missouri here and it will give me the options, which in this case, there's one, Missouri District, okay? Let's say Mr. John Schmidt is my, the leader here of our organization. I'm putting in some information. We're gonna and I'm gonna go down here now. If I were Mr. John Schmidt and I were entering this, I could click here and say it's the same person, and all of these other options go away. It just puts it down in there. Since that is not the case, and I myself am doing this, I'm going to enter my information here, and this should be the correct information. This information on the project director is the primary contact information, which is used for all correspondence about the grant to your organization. So be sure that all of the contact information is correct, okay? So now when I click next, I'm done with the organization information, and it takes me to the project overview. Okay, we're on the project page. We're going to start with the overview, which begins with the requested grant amount. And since we clicked on that we were 5,000 or under during that eligibility quiz, that's the application we're on. We need to have a whole number, no decimal places, between 1,000 and 5,000. So I'm going to go ahead and put 2,500. Don't add any dollar signs or commas, just put the number in. Here's my project title with the 6-word maximum. All through this application, you're going to see that the text in black is the name of the field, but then sometimes there's a blue text that gives you a hint or more information about what it's asking for. So this project title should be a 6-word maximum. Make sure that it really hits what your project is called and tells us something about the project. The next one is the project location. Now this may be different from the city and state that your congregation is in, but we'd like you to put the city and state in which the project will take place. So you just enter this here, St. Louis, Missouri, maybe. All right, next, you might see throughout this application some opportunities for drop downs. You're just gonna, hit the arrow and select the one. Yes. Does it support an existing project? Does this expand an existing project, or is it a new project? Okay, we're gonna expand an existing project. Just select that. So you can see all through here, again, you have 50 words for your project description. Look around the boxes for information. So for example, on this one, you see, how is this project closely connected with Word and Sacrament ministry of your congregation? So here's a little explanation in blue. In what way will recipients come in contact with or receive the gospel? And if you still needed a little more information, we have the little I here, and if you click on that, some help comes up that says interactions with members or the pastor, connection to worship and or Bible study, community awareness of your congregation, little questions to get you thinking. What might be some answers to this question? All right, so as you go in, you'll complete all of these questions. Use the blue help text and also the little I's. Look for that. Now when you come to the primary population served, you're just going to go ahead and check the boxes. Let's say I'm going to pick these 3. I can choose up to 4 categories, but that will be specific to your project. Again, with ethnicity of population, I will also make selections, but I will put a percentage in with these selections too. So your percentages should add up to 100. Make sure you'll do that or else you'll get an error. And then I have the age group of the primary population served. So again, I'll make my selections, and then I'll put a percentage number that equals up to 100 in the box. Okay, how many people total will be served? If you don't know, then make an estimate, your best estimate. And then we continue on to project details and outcomes. These are pretty self-explanatory. You just type your answers in there. Here, I'm going to draw your attention to this describe the project implementation timeline, including any important anchor dates. Now, on this particular application, which is $5,000 and under, this field right here is the only information that we are receiving about your schedule, your timeline. So try to be is not overly thorough, but definitely include those important anchor dates and make sure that we know the timing of this project. And keep in mind this award schedule. So if you're applying for phase 3, which is awarded May 1st, 2023, then your begin date shouldn't be May 1st, 2022. Okay, so keep in mind those award dates as you put in your timeline information. Select for us, is this a 6-month project or a 12-month project? Now, there might be a component that's ongoing, and that's fine. We'll talk about that later. But we want to know for the part that this funding is for, this part of the project that the funding is being used for, is that a 6-month project or a 12-month project? Okay, here you might be in collaboration with other RSOs or LCMS congregations or even just other pro-life Christian organizations. We'd like you to list them here, those names and addresses, and then be sure to describe the efforts that integrate with this project. What are those organizations doing that integrate with the overall project? Next, we move to financial and volunteer information. The first question here says, how much funding will your congregation contribute to this project? And we see that there's an I here. Let's see what that says. This does not include in-kind support, so facility usage or supplies and labor are excluded from the match. This is asking you to enter a dollar amount to be contributed by your congregation. Documentation of the congregation's contribution will be required before a matching payment is made. So for example, if you're applying for a $5,000 grant, and it is a matching grant, so that would mean your congregation is going to contribute $5,000. So keep that in mind when you decide how much you're asking for and what your overall project budget is, that your congregation will make a contribution, and if you receive an award, it will match the congregation. So what is the estimated date of the congregation's contribution will be available? Go ahead and enter that date. And then I want to point out that this particular field right here asks you to give an itemized listing with a description of project expenses for the total project. So if you're applying for a $5,000 grant, your congregation will be contributing $5,000. This means that your total project budget would be $10,000. We'd like to see here a budget listing right in this box, the major expenses for the total project. Keep in mind that this particular application for $5,000 and under does not require a separate budget to be attached. So please do a good job itemizing here your major project expenses to account for the total budget. Carrying forward, right here is that question that says, if this project has an ongoing element, how will that work be supported financially beyond the grant period? This is a required field, so a note here says, you know, if the project does not extend beyond the grant period, just simply write that in the blank and move on. Next, we're asking about volunteers, a few questions about that, and your willingness to utilize the Office of National Mission Volunteer Database to record those activities and hours. Training will be provided for that software. All right, we're going to click Next to go to the next section. And you can see that we're at the end. This is the final certifications. I'm not going to read these all to you, but I'm going to say you should read them very carefully and even discuss them with other members of your congregation's leadership, and make sure that everybody can say yes to these questions before you submit your application. So pay attention. We're going to take your word that your yes means yes. When you sign this, you're signing for your congregation. Well, this is the end of the 5,000 and under grant application. You would click Review and Submit. I'm not going to do that right now because I didn't fill this out completely, and I would get a whole bunch of errors. When you hit Review and Submit, you're going to see all of your entries come up on the screen. You'll see that application with the answers, and anything that's you may have missed will be there'll be a note that says that you need to correct it. Once you see everything is correct, you'll then hit Submit, and your application will be submitted. Next, we're going to take a look at the over 5,000 application. I've jumped screens here, and I'm now on the over $5,000 application. I'm going to just show you or highlight some differences in the application. First of all, you might notice that it looks much the same. You can see that Before You Begin screen would have been the same. The organization information was the same. We're going to go over a bit of project differences. And then there's this completely new element here called attachments, which we will also kind of demo here in just a minute. So for now, you can see that this goes up to 50,000 in the request. That's a little bit different. You also have up to 100 words in your project description, but all of these questions are the same, and the navigation that you already learned in the previous demo is all the same. So one difference is going to be when we come to the timeline. So here it tells you to briefly describe the project implementation timeline. And then it says a detailed milestone schedule will be uploaded on the next page. That's one of the attachments, and we'll see that. Again, there's a hint text here just to remind you of the phase dates. So go ahead and briefly describe it here, but you don't have to have a full detailed listing. We're going to have a milestone schedule for that. Next significant difference is the budget information, the financial information. So here on this text, in this field, it's asking you to list some of the major expenses which are in the project budget to give us a quick view of how the funds will be spent. But a detailed budget for the total project will be uploaded on that next page, on the attachments page. So remember, all budget information is for the total project and should demonstrate a need beyond the congregation's contribution. Okay, these are the only differences on the project portion. Let's click Next and explore this attachments page, which is something new. I encourage you all to pay close attention to these instructions right here. This is going to tell you what to do. The biggest issue that some applicants have is that they follow them all the way up until this last one, and they forget to click the upload button. Let's demo this and take a look at what that would look like. So right here, I'm going to click Choose File. And when I do, I'm going to go out to Documents, I've got my files in one way. This is the total project budget that I'm uploading. So I'm going to pick project budget and open that. Now you can see that project budget.xls, this is an Excel file, doesn't have to be. The requirement itself will take any kind of file. We do ask that they're not Mac files, that if you're using a Mac, just make something that convert the file to something that we could open up on a PC, since that's primarily what we use for grant administration. So, but it looks like it's here, but it's not actually there yet. I need to click the upload button. And when I do, oh, now you can really see that that's what you're looking for, that yellow bar that shows that it was uploaded on the 17th. Okay, so big difference. If you don't see this yellow bar, it wasn't actually uploaded. So let's look for that. Try it again. We're going to upload the project plans with the clearly identified milestones and dates. That's the project milestone schedule. Let's choose a file. And I've got the milestone schedule right here. I'm going to open that. Again, it placed it here, but I need to finish by pushing upload. And when I do, there it goes. Now, both of these attachments are required for the over $5,000 application. So total project budget and project milestone schedule, both required. Now, should you have a supplementary document that you'd like to upload, I would encourage you to take any number of documents that you think are valuable to the application and maybe merge them into a PDF, but somehow create one document, because you have the option to upload one more document of any type. So you would just navigate out and choose a file. I'm going to upload a picture here. And when I click upload, there it is. Okay, so you have the ability to add 3 attachments. 2 of them are required. 1 of them is not required. It's optional. If you don't want to add a 3rd one, you just don't add one. That would be fine. Okay, we're going to click next. And here we are at that final important certifications. From here out, this is exactly the same as the previous application, which we've already walked through.